This is called Jesus' high priestly prayer, and in it he makes a clear distinction between his holy ones, those whom he calls and consecrates through the sacraments, ultimately the sacraments of initiation, baptism, confirmation, and Holy Eucharist, that the world is going away, the world is doomed to destruction, but those whom he has appointed, called, consecrated, made his own, as he is one with the Father, are not of the world. And he says, I don't pray that you take them out of the world, Father, but that you keep them from the evil one. This is important for us as Christians to understand. There's an important balance that we have to seek every day in our life. A balance between becoming complacent and stagnant, or I guess stagnant's a fine word, stagnant in the world, and a desire to repudiate the world entirely, remain aloof from the world, and just moan to God that we're not in heaven yet, right? We have to strike a balance between that. And Jesus says, you are in the world, but not of the world. And so there's work for us to do. And what is the work? Jesus says, as you sent me into the world, so I send them into the world. The work that we have to do is the same work that Jesus does, right? And Jesus, for a time, came into the world, and he did not begrudge the fact that he was in the world. That he grew hungry when he didn't eat, or thirsty when he didn't drink, that he maybe slept on a rock the night before and was a little bit sore in the morning. He didn't begrudge these things, or that he was nailed to a tree. He accepted them as the reason that God the Father sent him. And each of us, in our own way, and even in this moment of our life, whatever that moment is, whether we're still young and in school, or whether we're old and can barely make it out of bed in the morning, much less to Mass. And congratulations to those of you for whom that's true. You're here, right? We have a work to do. There was never a point in Jesus' ministry where he was too weak to do what the Father sent him to do. Because, in a sense, that weakness is exactly what the Father sent him to do. Right? There wasn't a point where he was too parched of thirst that he couldn't speak when he ought to speak, because being parched of thirst is what he was intended to be doing. Or weeping at the tomb of his friend Lazarus, or sweating blood at the rock in the garden, or trying to explain to his parents why he was and needed to be in his Father's house. Regardless of our age or where we are, we have work to do. And that work can only be done, though, if we find that balance and strike it well. I am in the world. I do not belong to the world. I may enjoy the things of the world, but only as one who seeks respite on a long journey, not one who seeks to homestead there. We have to keep moving. And that means we have to be willing to let go of things that we have worked hard to achieve, because those weren't the real achievements we were seeking. Somebody who works hard in a career and then loses their job unexpectedly does not need to be distressed. You weren't supposed to stay there anyways. Someone who sees their retirement dwindling after a lifetime of hard work because of policy decisions of this person or that person in a position of power, get over it. You're going to be okay. I mean, you might starve to death, but you're going to be okay. This is the balance we strike. Right? Paul says, I suffered persecution and torture and flogging and shipwreck and snakebite and poisoning. And the list goes on and on. Twice I was stoned. He's like, I'm doing great. Passing through the world, doing the Lord's work. Right? Ask yourself if right now, and now this is I'm not talking about this being fun, right, or enjoyable. I'm talking about it being good, because it might be in the providence of God. What in your life, if you lost it right now, would it just be a complete catastrophe? Right? What are you so rooted in? What are you so reliant on in this world that if it were to disappear, you'd be inconsolable. Yet I do this once in a while. I have some nice things, I'm not going to lie, right? Probably shouldn't, because, life of simplicity and all, but I have some nice things. And I use those nice things for the good of the church. I'm not selfish with them, but nevertheless, they might be too nice for what a priest should have. I admit that, and you guys can challenge me on that if you'd like. But that's not the point of saying this. Regularly, I go through my things in my mind, and I do the mental exercise of losing them. All of my woodworking tools gone. House burns down. Okay, I'm okay. So what? Right? Truck breaks down. I don't have the truck anymore. Motorcycle falls over, blows up. Okay, fine. Yeah, they don't want me on it anyways. Fine, right? But to go through the things that we rely on in this life, the thing that is most terrifying to me, actually, and I pray, I'm glad to the Lord for this. The thing that terrifies me most is to lose my ability to be a priest in this world. It has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with my food, nothing to do with my comfort and sleeping and nice, sheets and a mattress. My biggest fear in life is to lose being able to be a priest. I gave that up willingly once in search for whatever, right? And in realizing in that time of searching that that's the only thing I wanted in life, it gave me a sense of freedom from all kinds of other things, right? And now, as much as I enjoy the things of the world, I'm able to sort of move freely in the world. If the bishop tells me to go here, okay. If I can't take some of my stuff with me, fine, whatever, right? If I stay here, it doesn't matter, whatever, right? I get to be a priest. I hope that for y'all, the one thing in your life, and it can't really be taken away, of course, but the one thing in your life that you just simply could not be without would be your children. Once you've taken on once you've been given the blessing of the vocation of motherhood, or to lose your place as the bride of Christ as a sister in a convent, or some of these. I mean, this is horrible to think about this. Or for some of you, I know this is even recent, but I'll say it even though it might strike some of you a little hard. But the fear of losing your spouse, right? There's so much of our identity tied up, and it should be, right? Two flesh becoming one, right? My life given for yours. That's what I live for, right? And now there's a time in life, even in this world as we're passing through, where that comes to an end. That is no longer your principal mission because it has been accomplished. And now you still have years to live out. And this is where we have to say, okay, well, what now, Lord? What do you have for me now? As the Father sends me, so I send you. How are you sending me? What do you need me to do? And all the things you've given me in this world are but instruments for the promulgation of your kingdom, for the advancement of your reign. Am I rich? I'm not rich to enjoy myself. I'm rich to work. Am I smart? I'm not smart to impress my friends. I'm smart to enrich the church. Am I persistent in my labors? I am not so that I can work all the time. I am so that in my freedom I can give benefit to others. Am I talented? Am I an artist? Am I a singer? I am not so that I can serenade the soap rack in the shower, but so that I can glorify the Lord in sacred worship. Right? This is the way we have to think as Christians. And even those things that we think to ourselves, this is my identity and how I give myself to the Lord, if He takes even that away, we say, Lord, I am but a passing pilgrim through this world. From time to time, I set up my tent and I rest. I drink the water. I hunt the game. I mend my things. I heal myself. But then I pack back up and I keep walking again because there's a place I need to go and it isn't here. And the longer I stay in one place, the longer I cling to the things of this world, the longer it's going to take me to get to where I need to go, where I'm really going to be happy, where you want me to be, where friends can be friends forever. Right? This is Jesus' high priestly prayer. This is the reason for his priesthood and the priesthood he shares with men like me. The reason we exist is to help the people of God sojourn through this life. Not to be happy in this life. A priesthood as a social justice warrior is a waste of breath. We do not work for the good of this world. We work for the good of souls for the next. We take pointy things and stick you in the backside with it to get you going again sometimes. We maybe do the work of mending your tent when you need to rest because you've been wounded. We go out ahead of you and clear the way and cut down the trees and move the rocks out of the road. And sometimes, as Paul says, we fight the wolves off. And today, unfortunately, what happens is as soon as a shepherd fights the wolf away, the sheep immediately accuse him of being mean. That was awfully mean the way you treated that wolf. He was going to eat you. Right? We all have that mission in this life. It doesn't matter how confused you are about it right now. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter how little you think of yourself. God thinks better of you than you think of yourself. If you think to yourself you can't do anything, you can't do X, Y, or Z, I guarantee you God thinks more of you than that. So from time to time, let us set up our tents and rest with one another, and from time to time, let us pack up and march together towards the kingdom of heaven. Never grow weary. The great adulation of all of the great apostles, never grow weary of doing what is good. Let that be our watchword today. Where are you right now? When was the last time you packed up your tent and emotionally, mentally, psychologically left everything behind and moved forward on that journey to heaven? Let's make sure that we remain young and agile enough to do that until the last day of our life.